right, don't move. Hands in the air.
You are under arrest for the murder of Hugh Crossley.
Sharon Solarz, one of the longest-standing fugitives on the FBI's most wanted list, was arrested yesterday, 30 years after the notorious bank robbery that claimed the life of a guard.
That is a clip from the trailer for the new movie, The Company You Keep, a Robert Redford flick about a former member of the radical group. It's loosely based on the Weather Underground, wanted for a bank robbery and murder of a security guard. Again, this movie is loosely based on the real-life 1981 armored car robbery in New York State by the Weather Underground that killed 2 police officers seen here, as well as a Brinks guard, leaving 9 children to grow up without their fathers. The driver of the getaway car in that crime, Kathy Boudin, spent 22 years behind bars for her crime. She was granted parole back in 2003, but now reporters have discovered that she has apparently been granted a prestigious teaching position at Columbia University, teaching some of America's best and brightest. This after she was just honored by New York University. Michelle Malkin is a columnist and Fox News contributor, and she has just written a column about this. So this is a Weather Underground person who spent almost, almost 24 years, 22 years in prison, pleaded guilty. There's no doubt about her guilt that she murdered 3 people. And now she's teaching the next generation of our best and brightest what exactly?
Yeah, well, I think it's confirmation, Megyn, that so many of the colleges and universities across America are cesspools of tenured radicalism and rationalization for left-wing domestic violence. It's not just Kathy Boudin. Of course, the adoptive parents of the child that she left behind when she and the father of her child, David Gilbert, were convicted in the Brinks robbery decades ago, a boy named Chesa Boudin, who is now a young man, also found sanctuary in academia. I wrote about him in 2002 when he was honored with a prestigious Rhodes Scholarship. And just like his parents, Kathy Boudin and David Gilbert, and his adoptive parents, Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, Chesa Boudin remains as unrepentant about the violence that the Weather Underground perpetrated, and is, in fact, is quite proud of his parents and adoptive parents' quote-unquote social justice legacy.
Yeah. So this is now we've got Bernadine Dorn, who, as you mentioned, is with Bill Ayers at Northwestern University, and now we've got this prize. Ms. Kathy Boudin at Columbia University, and now her son is a Rhodes Scholar at Yale, saying that he believes in all the same ideals as his parents did. And so this, I mean, I don't know. My kids are babies, Michelle, but I'm thinking if I send them to Columbia University, which is a great school, and I find out that Ms. Boudin, who murdered 3 police officers, 2 police officers and a security guard, I'm thinking, that's not the course I want you to take. I don't think Ms. Boudin has anything to say that you need to hear.
That's exactly right. And I think that this is a warning for all parents. I think it's a very teachable moment as Robert Redford rolls out this movie that unquestionably, undoubtedly, and certainly romanticizes the legacy of the Weather Underground, that we have to be very skeptical, and I think it's a, let the buyers beware when it comes to shopping around for the institutions of higher learning that our kids are going to go to. I should mention that Bill Ayers, of course, has now recently been honored with a visiting scholar status at Minnesota State University. So many of these places that have become safe harbor for left-wing domestic terrorists and their apologists are state and federally funded universities. And I think it behooves all taxpayers to know the real history that's been whitewashed here, not just by academia, but of course by Hollywood.
It's incredible. I think this is a little off, but I think back to just Casey Anthony, who was acquitted in the murder of her young daughter, but believed by so many Americans to have actually committed the crime. And people didn't want to hear anything about her. They didn't want to see her get $1 million book deal. They didn't want to buy her book and so on. Same thing with O.J., right? They didn't want to hear his If I Did It book and so on. But this woman, she can admit admit to killing 3 law enforcement officers, served 22 years in prison for it. And what did they do? Columbia University gives her a job, a prestigious job. And the woman who hired her, Columbia School of Social Work Associate Dean Marianne Yoshoika, says she's been an excellent teacher who gets incredible evaluations from her students each year. Michelle, turns out she's teaching about the issues facing convicts and their families when you're released from prison. Well, she's got some expertise.
Yeah, she certainly does. And I would urge the families, especially of those who were victimized and those who were murdered, to continue to speak up. I mentioned last week in my column when this movie was being rolled out that there remains a scholarship, a memorial scholarship fund for the 2 police officers that were killed, Edward O'Grady and Waverly Brown. And they're going to be having a fundraising banquet in June to honor students who do not believe in the legacy of these left-wing terrorists, but who are pursuing law enforcement careers. Remember them, please.
Michelle Malkin, great to see you.
You bet.
We'll be right back.